Right, so today it all kicks off all over again and Danielle threatens Mohamed with brand new legal action not related to immigration. So last time out, Mohamed squared off against Danielle face to face for the first time since the day of their court hearing in the first half of the season finale tell-all episode. Despite the court's decision to grant the couple a divorce, allowing Mohamed to continue to live and work in the US, Danielle swore to send her folder of evidence to immigration in the hopes that they'll deport him back to Tunisia. She also repeatedly stated that she feels like she was entitled to more from Mohamed, given she brought him over to the US. But in response, Mohamed maintained that no person should be expected to tolerate the level of abuse he suffered from anyone in a relationship, even if they are a foreign partner and were brought over by an American citizen. He also had to defend himself from the other castmates, who criticised him heavily for adding stigma to the K1 visa process by virtue of his relationship merely not working out. At the end of the first half, Danielle stormed off crying after Mohamed said that he doesn't believe she ever truly loved him because of the way she treated him. Well, now, after a brief halftime break, we're back on. Danielle takes a moment to dry her tears and catch her breath back before heading back onto the set, where Mohamed and Sean are waiting for her. She says that the reason she ran off crying was because it hurt to hear Mohamed say that she didn't love him, because she sacrificed so much for him, including her relationships with many of her family members. To move forwards, Sean then asks Danielle what she was hoping to hear today.
An apology, one that's heartfelt, and we wouldn't have to end on such bad terms.
It's ironic that she says this because they did originally end on good terms. Mohamed came to visit her in Ohio and she agreed to withdraw the annulment so that they could move forwards as friends. But she did a complete 180 and lost her mind when she saw him post a photo of himself with another woman months later, even though she had a boyfriend of her own. And that then started a whole nother saga of her trying to get him deported. So things went from ending on good terms to being on bad terms because of her jealousy and petty desire for revenge. It was nothing to do with him. Well, with their relationship finally legally over and the court deciding that he's allowed to remain in the US, Sean then asks Mohamed what his plans are moving forwards.
Well, I'm going to disappear. I'm just going to do whatever I think is best for my life and my future. Try to fix the mess that happened in the last 3 years.
I actually miss these days. This was when 90 Day Fiancé was in its absolute prime. Nowadays there are so many Instagram models and musicians and influencers that go on just trying to get their 15 minutes of fame, and so many of them overstay their welcome massively, clinging onto as many 90 Day Fiancé spin-offs as possible. But Mohamed and loads of the others in this era just couldn't care less. All he wants is a peaceful life in the US as far away from Danielle as possible.
I'm responsible for him for 10 years as long as he's here.
All I want is to finish whatever we're doing right now and let's stop talking. And I wish you all the good things in your life.
It's commendable that he doesn't hold a grudge because she was awful to him in their relationship and has been trying to ruin his life ever since. It takes no small amount of maturity to want to just find peace and move on after all of that. And I don't doubt that that is what he wants. Like, even though she is technically financially responsible for him for a while, there's just no way that he's going to hold her to that. He's been supporting himself since the day he could get a job and he's never expected anything else. Well, with Mohamed essentially done talking to Danielle, the producers invite all the other couples back into the room. Sean asks Lauren if she has any advice for the two of them, and she quite rightly says that they both need to move on. Unsurprisingly though, she just has to follow it up, making it all about her again, adding that she's embarrassed to be associated with the two of them.
There's such a bad stigma about the green card process and the K1 visa, and we, unfortunately, are associated with it. And I have people
then
reaching out to me.
Then don't be in it if you don't like it.
Mohamed, we are really in love.
Honestly, I could show about 30 clips in a row of her yapping like this, but not only is it frustrating to watch, it's also just really boringly repetitive. Thankfully though, Mohamed has quite an entertainingly witty response for everything she says, which makes it somewhat bearable to watch. But also, unlike in last season's tell-all, he doesn't let them ganging up on him get to him that much.
I don't like being associated with you because I did it for the right reason.
I did it for the right reason.
Really? I don't see you two still happily together.
It doesn't matter what you see.
You are a fraud.
It doesn't matter.
So enough.
Again, a relationship not working out doesn't automatically mean that the initial intentions were wrong. There are plenty of reasons that a relationship that started with the right intentions can come to an end later down the line. If she's not going to provide solid, reasonable grounds for saying that his initial intentions were wrong, and she's just going to say that's how the relationship appears to her from the outside, She's got no compelling argument whatsoever. I do think Mohamed has plenty to answer for, including not only his initial intentions, but also other things like clearly not getting to know Danielle well enough before marrying her, which is a common and big problem between partners going through this K1 visa process. But this just isn't an effective way to challenge him on any of those things. If she's making a claim with no real evidence, he can dismiss her claim with no real evidence. Thankfully, at least, Laura reserves some of her energy for Danielle, and Paula joins in.
Danielle, I'm not by your side, seriously, because at the end of everything what I've seen, seriously, you need to move.
You need to move on.
With your life.
You need to move on.
Leave this guy alone. Seriously, leave him alone.
They're right as well, because all of her troubles would disappear instantly if she decided that from now, her obsession with getting revenge on Mohamed was over. She could go back into the dating world and try and find love again. She could start rebuilding the bridges she burnt with her family members. And she would never have to see or hear from Mohamed again because he isn't even posting on social media anymore.
I believe I did the wrong things by going down to this people level, and the situation is getting worse and worse. And for that reason, I just took down all my social media, and I'm completely offline right now.
And with that, Danielle's final complaint about how Mohamed is behaving was extinguished, so there was really nothing more to say. As a result, Sean announces the end of the tell-all, and Mohamed tries to get out of there as quickly as possible.
All right, everybody, you are all good to go. It's a wrap.
So I'm ready for you? Yeah. I don't want to see it anymore. We need to get this done really quick. Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, Mohamed has one final hurdle. Armed with a fresh slice of pepperoni pizza, Danielle is waiting for him at the exit. When the pair last saw each other in court, Mohamed promised to pay Danielle's legal fees, even though she was trying to get him deported. However, it's been several months since then, and he still has yet to pay.
Where's it at?
That's not my problem. That's not my problem.
Mohamed, it's your problem when you were ordered to send it.
Can you stop? Something different.
I get that you really wouldn't want to pay the legal fees someone else incurred trying to deport you and ruin your life, but he did promise to pay them, so he should stick to that promise. For now though, he escapes unscathed, leaving Danielle to emotionally ponder what she feels is a lack of appreciation.
I think that's what hurts the most, because you don't ever acknowledge the money that I've spent and the time that I've spent.
I'm so glad that this might very well be the last time we're ever going to have to hear this snotty, snivelling whining. Also, as if Mohamed didn't also waste 3 years of his life on a woman who lied about her finances, lied about her criminal record, lacked basic hygiene, would threaten him if he didn't sleep with her, would constantly cry, yell and argue, and after he left her for all of those reasons and more, would spend every last ounce of her energy trying to get him deported and ruin his life. That's the real waste of time. Plus, when she got fired, he was the one doing 10-hour shifts in a factory, paying all of their bills. Why doesn't she acknowledge that? But I guess she doesn't need to. Mohamed doesn't care about her acknowledging anything. All he wants is to be left alone.
I just want to leave and never come back here. Danielle will have no way to contact me anymore. I'm gonna disappear. That's it.
And that was the end of the tell-all, but it wasn't the end of the saga. A week later, Danielle reached out to the production team with an update. She told them that she was angry about how things ended, especially given Mohamed didn't apologise or admit that he was the one in the wrong, and so she had yet another slimy trick up her sleeve.
He wants everyone else to take the blame for his actions. So, I've talked to a lawyer and I've decided to sue Mohamed.
Now, annoyingly, she doesn't actually say what she's going to sue him for, only that it has nothing to do with getting him deported. Maybe it's financial reparations for marriage fraud, or maybe it's for something else to do with their relationship. But my guess is that it's probably just for the $500 he promised her for the court fees.
I'm not going to back down from this. I want someone to actually believe me and award me in my favor.
She just cannot let it go. It's so bizarre. I'd love a psychologist to find out what exactly it is deep down that's causing her to be so desperate for this validation from people she doesn't even know. Maybe it's to do with the lack of mental maturity that YouTube psychologist was talking about. Either way, it's sad to watch because it really is just ruining her life. Like, how is she ever going to actually move on if she's spending all of this time obsessing over her ex? What potential partner would be able to look past that?
My lawyer and I have tried to get in touch with him and we haven't got no response. It's important for me to get in touch with him because I need to let him know I'm suing him and I need the correct address.
This again, brilliant. So back when she tried to get an annulment the second time, she needed his home address to serve him with papers, but she had no idea where he moved to. As a result, she ended up stalking him across the country, literally from Ohio to Florida, to find him. And that ended with her almost getting arrested for throwing objects at him in the street. And now she's got the exact same problem all over again.
The number you dialed is temporarily not in service.
He disconnected his phone.
Yeah.
As you would if you had a stalker ex that was constantly threatening to make your life hell. In fact, if I was Mohamed, I don't even know if I'd want to stay in the US, knowing that Danielle could always be round the corner. Every sound of whimpering or whiff of seafood would set off a visceral reaction. How would you sleep at night? Honestly, if I worked at the FBI and was watching this, I would be drawing up plans to get Danielle to fall in love with El Chapo, to put her relentless stalking tendencies to good use.
Are you worried that he's left the country at all?
Well, I guess he wasn't lying about going off-grid and disappearing. I know Danielle is going to feel like Mohamed got what he wants and she's been left with egg on her face, but this is a win for her too. It's done, it's over, there's no more time, energy or money to be wasted pursuing frivolous legal action. She can finally move on with her life. As far as Mohamed goes, like I said earlier, he still has a lot to answer for. He gave us a bit more information as to why he got into a relationship with Danielle, but given how quickly they went from talking to marriage and how hard he fought to remain in the US, it's hard to deny that the green card was at the very least an added appeal, and I don't blame anyone for thinking that it might have been his primary objective. Still, whatever his reasons were, I'm glad he decided to give things with Danielle a go, because this has undeniably been one of the greatest 90 Day Fiancé sagas of all time. Of course, if anything else happens, I'll be sure to continue the saga, but if you want to rewatch this one or move on to another couple who are arguably just as insane, I have a massive 90 Day Fiancé playlist with every single saga in chronological order for you to binge, and you can find that in the description right now. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.